didn't know, like, wrong.
Yeah.
But I just bounced right back. That's me.
It's not normal unless our anxiety is like really high. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all good. No, you.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the podcast. We are on the 4th episode of Confessions of a Rock and Roll Wifey. And my dear friend, G-Dog, Greg Keiling, is here.
Hey, Rhea, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to do this. I've been waiting for this for a couple weeks. We've had this set up.
Yeah.
And we're gearing up for the September 11th show.
That's right.
At Brick by Brick.
Yep.
It's a benefit show.
It is indeed.
And this is a show that you do every year.
Every year.
You put it on, organize it.
Correct.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, the music scene has been very supportive over the years in helping me complete the mission with the other families of Flight 93 to complete the Flight 93 National Memorial. And that mission has been completed. So we are very grateful for the support that the music scene has offered, and of course all the fans that have come out to the shows over the years. And so, that being said, we're kind of gearing now towards helping out other 9/11 related charities, such as San Diego Firefighter Aid and Psych Armor Institute, Firefighter Cancer Support Network, National Fallen Firefighters Association. And this particular show, we're going to be benefiting the National First Responders Fund, which is going to be providing assistance to first responders suffering from post-traumatic stress injuries.
Okay.
So money for programs.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So first responders, when they say first responders, do they mean like on the front lines, or do they mean like law enforcement first responders, or what specifically?
So I think it's first responders, can be interpreted in a number of different ways.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, and that's a great question. So, first responders, when I generally think of first responders, my mind goes to the first responders who went to the World Trade Center site, and that was a collaboration of all different law enforcement agencies and firefighters and military.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see it, a first responder is anyone who shows up to the scene first, regardless of what badge or uniform they're wearing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. And they all deal with PTSD.
Yes.
And PTSD is insane the way that it works, because it literally changes your brain. And so it causes you to have all these feelings and crazy anxieties and depression and just so many different symptoms.
Right.
And it's something you can't control at all.
Right, exactly. And a lot of the symptoms are related to what I deal with. I have a disability. I have a TBI, which is known as a traumatic brain injury. I suffered multiple concussions over my life, and I was officially diagnosed with a TBI. And there's a lot of symptoms that fall under the same umbrella as PTSD.
Right.
So that really hits home.
Yeah.
So what happened with this year was the 9/11 scare plan that usually happens in San Diego didn't happen again. It didn't happen last year because of COVID, and it didn't happen this year. Not necessarily because of COVID, but because once the state reopened, there just wasn't enough time for firefighter aid to get the climb together organized.
Right.
There's tons of vendors and bands and all kinds of stuff. So we are doing our own stair climb this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I created a team a few years ago.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Guerrilla style, doing it anyway.
Doing it anyway, yeah, absolutely, and it's just a passion of mine. And I created a team a couple years ago that is named Team Diora. And it's named after my friend Diora Bogley, who was a passenger on board United Airlines Flight 93 on 9/11. And so over the last couple of years, we've been raising money to support firefighter aid and those related charities. And we would do the 9/11 stair climb every year as well. And we're doing it again this year. So only this year, It's going to be one of our teammates, Judy. We're going to be using her office building, and her office building is 22 floors. So we're going to climb the stairwells 5 times to total 110 stories, which is what the World Trade Center was.
Right.
Yeah. So Saturday morning, September 11th, we will start that event promptly with a moment of silence at 8:46 a.m., which is the precise moment American Airlines flight 11 hit the North Tower.
Wow. I remember when it happened. I was asleep. My roommate woke me up, and I was like half asleep, you know, probably a little hungover because I was like 21,
Right.
you know, and I just turned 21, and I get up and I just go out, and I'm like, and she's like, oh my gosh. It was actually my friend Brandy.
Right.
You remember Brandy, right?
It's been a while.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. She woke me up and she's like, you know, tells me what happened, and I'm like, oh, and at first I just went back to sleep. And then I got back up and I realized like how serious it was.
Right. Yeah, the magnitude of the situation escalated very quickly, obviously. And yeah, I mean, everybody who was alive then, if you were, you know, at least unless you're a very young child, most likely, but generally speaking, everybody remembers where they were. You know, it's one of those moments in history, kind of like the generation that was around when Kennedy was assassinated. Everybody remembers where they were. This is a similar kind of scenario.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I was at work and found out, you know, the North Tower had been hit, and then soon after that, Tower 2 was hit by United 175, and at that point, I just got to work. It was about 5 minutes to 7 here, and on the East Coast, it was almost 10 a.m., and I turned on the television in the unit. I worked, at the time, I was working at a residential treatment center for kids who were child abuse victims. I turned on the TV, and literally within 30 seconds of turning on the TV, the Tower 2 just started to collapse. And I was so dumbfounded at what I was looking at. I couldn't really process it.
Right.
You know? And then I remember the phone ringing, our director of nursing was like, shut the TV off, we have to create a safety plan for the kids, etc. You know, everybody knows how the day progressed at that point. And then...
Yeah, everything was shut. I think even my job, they closed down for that day. Like, it was like everybody was just so sad and just couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah, a lot of shock and sadness and fear and uncertainty. And so going back to Diora, I found out about her being on United Flight 93 on September 19th. So what happened was, the 11th was a Tuesday, and then that following day, the 12th, was a Wednesday, and Wednesdays was the day that we would take the kids to Helen Woodward Animal Center. That's where I met Diora. She was a volunteer there.
Right.
We didn't go on September 12th because everything was closed. But then the following Wednesday we went, and they had informed me that she was home.
Wow. Yeah, it's hard, and it still hurts just as
Oh, it's terrible. It never goes away. I mean, you deal with it, you have your good days and your bad, and sometimes it's like, you can shake it off pretty quick, and there's just other times that if you're having a rough day in general, and then that just pops in your head, it just kind of, it's kind of a wrecking ball, you know, a fresh kick in the face, and it takes a little while for you to recover from it sometimes.
Yeah, definitely, because it takes you right back to not only the sadness and the all the emotions that her family felt and her friends felt. That was like on such a huge scale.
Yeah.
Because so many people were lost.
Yeah.
And plus, you know, people, you know, even from afar over here. You know, I mean, there was so much effect. I mean, it affected everybody.
I know that, yeah, with us being on the West Coast, a lot of times people think on the West Coast in California, especially, that Californians weren't really all that affected. And the reality of it was, over 500 people who died on September 11th are from California.
They were on airplanes, probably coming back, or going there, going somewhere.
Right, or born here and were working at the Pentagon at that point, or working in the towers.
They have family around other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating. I know, even with today's events, you know, I think about just one person being, you know, just stuck in Afghanistan, and I started to want to cry this morning, you know, because my brother was in Afghanistan, he was in Iraq, You know, he's an Army member, he's a sergeant, and his son is enlisted, and his stepson just enlisted this last week. You know, so it's like, I just literally picture their face
Right.
on those people that are stuck.
Yeah.
And it just makes me want to cry.
It's,
you know?
yeah, it's a very helpless situation. It's definitely, you know, I mean, timing on something like that is never good. But the fact is, it's 2 weeks before the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and this
Right.
is unfolding, and
Right.
it's a very
It's
scary.
a hard pill to swallow.
It is. It is. And it's very, I've been talking with a couple of other family members, and we're all kind of in agreement that, like, we're having that anxiety. The anxiety is even going higher just because of the uncertainty of the situation in Afghanistan right now. And Al-Qaeda's name is being mentioned again. It's been years since we've heard anything
Right.
about them, but they're starting, it sounds like.
Just been waiting.
Right. And that's the thing I learned very early on about terrorism, is that those who are going to commit to such a lifestyle, if you will, is that they somehow develop this incredible patience. And because the 9/11 operation was in the works, I want to say, since like the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So they literally were able to do their thing or whatever and keep it
just
under wraps.
planning for a long time.
Right, a long time. And that's kind of the, you know, because after learning that, and here it is, the 20 years coming up, and just with what's going on in Afghanistan, we're all really, we're worried, you
Right.
know, that
Well, because
it's
the
something going to happen
idea,
domestically. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all kind of on edge of
absolutely.
that. You know?
And the idea behind, I guess, you know, putting a timeline on leaving was, you know, for them to be strong enough, you know, and to help empower them.
Right.
So obviously, you know, it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is, and we all just have to keep praying, and
Right.
I mean, that's really all we can do.
Yeah, that's all that, I mean, from where we're sitting, that is pretty
Right.
much all we can do. It's you know.
And it's horrible, it's horrible feeling.
Right. And, you know, I come from a military family, my brother's a man. And that's the thing, I know, at least I never say he was a Marine, he is.
They
Once you're a
always
Marine, you're a Marine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and yeah, so that, and you know, my grandparents, you know, I had two grandfathers in the military, and you know, so.
Yeah, you were raised to love your country.
Yeah, absolutely, very I've always been patriotic.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just have so much love for our military now. Especially, in particular, the ones who signed up post September 11th, because I saw it as, they were sort of like, it's almost like as if DR and everybody on 93 passed the torch
Right,
onto our service members to continue to fight for our freedom.
absolutely. And when
So-
they enlist after that, it's like they're saying, you know what, we're not gonna stand for this, we're gonna
Right.
do what we can.
Right.
You know, and that's why I think it's amazing that you're doing what you can.
Yeah.
You know, that's all we all can do, you know?
Right. You know, and that's the thing. Like, it took me over 5 years to go to the crash site in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and I finally went. And I have, my family's about 2 hours south of there, so I finally had mustered the courage to go. And it was actually on my first visit in December 26th of 2006 where I sort of reconnected with her, and the idea just came, you know, kind of talking to her.
Mhm.
Like, it brought me back to, like, when we were at the Animal Center. Like, all we've ever talked about, generally speaking, is tattoos and music. So it just kind of, it was like a light bulb went off.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
I want to do something.
What can
and
I
you've
do?
been doing something
Yeah.
about a lot of things
Yeah, I mean, it
for
was
a
just,
while. It's
it
great.
kind of sparked, like, that day kind of, I mean, that's what sparked the idea of, like, I remember being so excited to get back to San Diego, because I was like, I'm going to put together a benefit show. I know all these bands in San Diego, and I'm going to start raising money for the memorial. So that was like my first experience in channeling all those feelings of
Yeah.
sadness and anger into something positive.
Yeah.
And it's just taken off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can't
Yeah.
thank the scene enough for their support over the years.
And they all feel the same way about you. You show up to every show. You're front row center. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta show your support. You know, it's a two-way street. So,
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful. You know, it's like I'll email Shannon at Brick by Brick and, hey, you know, is this date available? You know, and she's like, oh, you got it. You know what I mean? Like, and Brick by Brick has been so accommodating. I just want to give them a shout out as well.
Yeah.
We're all getting really pumped for the show on the 11th. and everything.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So is there a charity involved with that as well, or is it the same as the
Right.
one for the, okay.
Yeah, so we're going to be, so the money raised from the show will go to National First Responders Fund to, again, provide funding for programs for first responders suffering from post-traumatic stress injuries.
Oh, that's amazing. And who's going to play?
So, our opening band is a band that's jumping on the benefit for the first time. I've actually not seen them. I did catch some of their live stuff. They played a metal festival in Oregon, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago. They're called Sleeping Faceless.
Okay, yes.
My buddy Ryan Walcher, he referred me to them, and so yeah, I've been talking with Sarah Hernandez. I think she might be the manager, and she's pretty excited.
Yeah, she is, and she's married to the singer.
Okay.
I spoke to her a little bit too, because when I started all of this, I was really wanting to involve a lot of the local bands and things like that, and so it just so happened on that day I saw the flyer with them, and then I looked them up and I shared a couple things, and I recognized, a couple members.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, this is cool. And so I talked to her for a minute about the show and everything. And
Oh,
she said,
very
thank
cool.
you for sharing their stuff. And I'm
Of
like,
course.
you got it. I'm always down to support.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then Agori's playing.
Yeah, Agori is going to be playing. They are, one of the Flight 93 veteran bands, if you will.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
So my first show was September 11, 2007.
7, okay.
Yeah, and then the initial years, like probably the first 3 or 4, we were doing like 2 a year. I mean, I was like, it was just such a great thing. All these bands wanted to jump on it. So I was like, okay. So I started doing one on the weekend that was on or right around Joe's birthday in April.
Okay.
So we were doing one then, and then,
something for her, like a celebration.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Something to remember.
Yeah, and then the anniversary, of course, we always kind of show right around the anniversary of on. So yeah, they've been around and played multiple shows for the memorial and everything, and I can't say enough great things about them. They're just incredible.
Yes.
Incredible musicians, obviously, but they're as people, they're just salt of the earth.
They
just
really
wonderful
are.
guys.
Yes, amazing. And I did a podcast with Tamika and Dustin, and they were just such good sports. They let me ask them all kinds of crazy stuff, and so that was great. Who else is playing?
So another, not necessarily new band, but new to the memorial show is Defy the Tyrants. Are going to be playing.
I've heard of them.
They
but
are
I don't know if they're
amazing.
Are they?
My god, yeah. They're just heavy hitters, dude. They're so amazing. I've seen them once or twice, and they have a new singer, and they've released a couple of new singles, and I've been talking with Brandon, the drummer, and Anthony, the guitarist person. Yeah, they're really pumped for the show as well.
Nice.
So that's going to be great. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then just recently added is our boys in Godhammer.
Oh my gosh.
Another veteran memorial band.
So it's just going to be a whole night of face melting metal.
Yes.
Nice.
A lot of it. Yeah, a lot of it.
We love that.
It's gonna be a really special night, and again, and Godhammer too. Like I can't say enough great things about those guys. Like them and Agori. Like every time I've asked them if they want to play, like they've never said no. Like, never. So they're
Most
great.
metalheads are really cool.
Yeah.
I learned.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
And so we'll have our team there, and looking forward to seeing everybody. And
but you've done a bunch of other benefit shows as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen you even play on stage.
Yeah,
You dabbled with the guitar.
I dabble. Like I'm the basic A through G chord kind of guy.
You know what? Sometimes that's all people need. They're like, you just stay right there in your pocket, and we got a show.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome, though.
Just stand there and enjoy your beer or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, and that's been fun too. But yeah, that's the other beautiful thing about that first trip to the memorial is that it obviously spawned the Flight 93 benefit shows and now the firefighter aid shows. But also, it's like whenever things would happen that I felt needed a benefit show for, it was like, that was my first thought. You know? Like, I remember there was a massive tornado in Tuscaloosa, Alabama in 2010. And I was like, oh my God, we need a benefit show. That whole city is in ruins. Like, they need our help. So we did one for them. And
that's amazing.
We've done it for City of Hope Cancer Research and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And
and you know, all of us, any excuse to party and go see some metal.
That's right, yeah.
To drink some Jaeger, whatever it is.
Exactly, yeah. It's a win-win. It's a win-win, yeah.
Yes. So how long have you been going to metal shows?
Oh, God. Well, let's see. I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up like right outside DC, so I was going to metal shows probably starting 14 or 15, like local shows, like in people's garages, and stuff, parties, whatever, and then graduated to like local venues in DC, like the Bayou in Georgetown and DC Space and the 930 Club, and they took on more, and those venues, they bring in the national acts, I remember seeing like, trying to think, Life of Agony, and
so it was like a part of your life, and then as you became an adult, you were just like, that's
it. Yeah, that I mean, the metal scene, once I started that, I was like, the metal scene just kind of became a social circle no matter where I lived.
Right.
And
kind of the same with me.
Yeah.
I actually started going to the shows mostly because of my friend Shaun.
Yeah.
And that was really how I started, because a couple of my girlfriends were dating like his friends, and he was in the Abuse, and I think that was when Derek was the bass player for the Abuse too, because he was dating my friend Lena, and so I would end up going to the shows, and then I just loved it so much, so I started just just going with him all the time, and now it's 20 years in the making. And how long, do you remember at all what year we met, maybe?
I mean, it's funny, I was thinking about that recently. I mean, I can remember, like, I don't know if it's necessarily when we first met per se, but like, it was probably kind of within a year or two at least. Like, I remember just like partying at Crystal's place in OB, like on West Point Road. Like, I remember you being there and stuff.
Right.
And
so that would have been like probably
Dream Street days.
2007.
7, 8, yeah.
Yeah, and I was going with Shaun in like days. 2001. I mean, I was like 21, right when I was old enough to get into the places. And I actually think I went to a couple of the shows that, like one in Ramona where I wasn't quite 21, and Paulette got me in.
Nice.
Oh yeah, she could totally just be like, no, fuck you, this is my friend, she's coming in right now. And they would let her. She would be like, well, we're not playing then, or some shit like that. Like, she's just like, she was like that.
Well, we all know up to the end how fearless she is.
So she got me in. And so that actually brings up a whole nother thing that we're going to talk about today. So we also have Shaun here with us.
Yeah.
He's looking at me right there, over there. So we're going to bring him in soon as well. We're going to talk about all of that, the Abuse days. We'll talk a little bit about Paulette. She was the queen of metal back then.
Queen of scene.
Yes, and they were huge in like, between like 2001 and then up until she passed.
Right.
And we'll talk about her story and all of that as well. Is there anything else? I'm thinking I wanted you to talk about the charity, how to donate. And then also,
so
where to find, the information on anything.
Oh, sure.
Wants to join or
so basically what we've been doing is there's this social media thing called Facebook, and it's actually, as annoying as it can be sometimes with all the BS that you read on there, it's a great tool in terms of promoting, especially like for charities and shows and stuff. So our team Dura, has been sharing the link. We all have individual pages for our team that people can donate to. You basically just like click on the link and there's a donate now, and you can just donate whatever you can. Or if you can't donate, feel free to just share the link. It's not just about the money; it's about raising awareness as well.
Yeah. So if you can't donate, then at least just share it, tell people about it.
Exactly.
Show up to the show.
Buy
a ticket.
Yep.
And that helps.
Absolutely, yeah, that definitely helps, especially the night of the show. I'll be rolling around. I'm actually already planning on rolling around the brick all night with like a fireman's boot. You know, people like you get any spare change or whatever, just throw in the boot, man. You know,
absolutely. So bring your cash.
That's right. Yeah, we'll take out of state third-party checks.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I think we'll go ahead and take a break. And we will bring Shaun in to hang out with us, and we'll talk about history of the San Diego metal scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's probably other sub scenes, because I know that we had our main kind of like group of people, but it was still huge.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about Shaun and him joining Sons on Fire.
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah.
I lost my connection 4,000 miles from land, drifting away from all the things that I had planned, pacing, heart racing, I'm chasing myself away. Weakening, sinking, repeating this day, drifting away.
Go.
Welcome back. That was a good break.
It was. Yes, it was.
So I'm here with G-Dog. As you all know, if you've been listening for the last 30 minutes, we've been talking about the charity that he's raising money for, the September 11th show, a little history on the September 11th benefit shows, and we are now going to be having somebody join us, and his name is Shaun Jenkins. This is his stage name, his new name. If all of you guys know him already as Shaun Fruit and you're confused why he's now called Jenkins, he's going to go over that with us as well. And we are going to also talk about his new endeavor, which is being the new guitar player for the band Sons on Fire. And as all of you know, Sons on Fire is the band that my husband is also the front man for. And we're really excited about Shaun joining the band. And it's just, some of their new stuff is just amazing. So, welcome, Shaun.
Cool. What's up, guys? What's up?
Not too much, just doing a podcast with my friend, just normal stuff.
What's up, G-Dog? It's so good to see you, man. Always a pleasure. Sea Angel. You're a Sea Angel. Yes. How are you, babe?
You really are. I'm good. I'm so glad that you're here too today.
Yeah, for sure. You got a really nice setup here. This is really cool.
Awesome.
It seems like a lot of fun to come on here, so I'm really excited to be
I'm
here.
glad you like it. And we actually are set up here at Greg's house. So thank you for having us. And
Absolutely.
we are going to get right out of here right after this because his baby's going to be here.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was going to take over the living room, so yeah, it's all good. No worries.
Anyways, so yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And yes, that's what Shaun and I were talking about, is that he feels like you are the scene angel.
I know, like, you're the main guy, dude. Like, I mean, it's just been for years. I mean, I've just seen so much respect and love come from you, man, for the scene and everything, and the bands give it right back.
Yeah.
And then bringing in Team Dioro with everything.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, and it just shows you how a group of people that all have the same interests can really like get together and make anything happen.
Right.
So I actually was a part of that with Whiskey State of Mind. Remember that?
That's right.
Shout out to Whiskey State of Mind. That was fun.
Was that your first show, I think?
That was, yeah.
That was a hell of a turnout too, man.
It really was. It was a lot of fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah, it was a little different for me being in a country cover band, but when I saw that Matt Jensen was in there, or Matt Bastard rather, I was like, oh, well, if he could do it, I could do it,
Yeah.
So I bought some Fenders and some Telecasters and made it happen, and it was super cool.
Yeah.
Which actually kind of like started to well-round me into like a better musician, I feel, because you start to understand and appreciate stuff outside of your box. I'm not just a metal dude or a rock dude, like I can play some classical stuff, or,
right.
You gotta appreciate it all. And then that all kind of speaks, volumes through your own music,
Absolutely.
So,
Definitely.
fun, super fun. It's been a lot of fun years in this scene, man.
Absolutely.
We've seen so much change and so much happen, especially after Paulette, what you guys brought up.
Yeah.
Once she was gone, there was definitely a missing, changed feeling to the world. It just felt same with 9/11 too, man. I don't mean to tie those together, but I mean, it's kind of like
it was devastating.
It's just all devastating feelings, and
I remember being at her memorial that we did at a friend's house, and just everybody literally sitting around just crying. I mean, it was devastating. We were all just so sad. And, I remember when I first met Paulette, she was like I was just showing up with my friends. I'd never been a part of the scene at all.
Right.
And I remember seeing her off at, what is that, Kane's?
Kane's bar,
And she was wearing these leather pants, and I just remember thinking, wow, that chick is a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
She's sick.
She was.
Yeah, and then, when I got to know her,
Yes, indeed.
and that was, the first impression was definitely, she lived up to that, even though, she was a local girl and still totally on her way up, by the way. She would have been huge.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
I know we were
She was
starting to
an
hit
outsider.
cover of magazines. We were getting hit up more by Hollywood shows and things like that. We were starting to feel this vacuum towards LA, and we're starting to get a lot of attention. We started playing some festivals that were
The
out in
shows were
Arizona and
huge.
stuff, and it was feeling like something was about to lift off, and then it just collapsed, which was really devastating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
But, you know.
do you want to tell a little bit of the story about what happened?
Well, you know, I don't know all the details. I only know what I was told.
Yeah.
And I mean, to put it in a nutshell, it's basically like, well, the way I heard it is this guy was there very late. A lot of people were already kind of like asleep at this point or doing something else in the rooms or whatever, sleeping, whatever. And then like the neighbor came home from graveyard shift and went up there and saw this guy like taking stuff out of the freezer.
Steaks out of the
Steaks
freezer.
out of the
Yeah.
freezer, and like
Right.
he had a trench coat or something,
Right, just
big
robbing
pockets
her.
or something, like robbing her, right?
Right.
And then, you know, he went in and woke her up.
Can
or-
I just interrupt you really quick?
Yeah.
So what I just first want to say and tell everybody is that Paulette was a badass chick. She was the type of chick where she would literally tell you to F off if you were trying to hurt her or out of pocket, being, you know, disrespectful. She was really fierce with standing up for her friends as well, you know, and
She would fight guys at bars.
yeah, so she
Remember that.
had a huge following. She
Masses.
was amazing at her shows. She literally had the place packed and everybody singing all of the lyrics.
Right.
So she was a freaking
Good
badass,
times. Super
you
good
know?
times. I love that game.
But go ahead
Sure.
and finish. I
But
just
yeah,
wanted to-
so then he went and got her, and then she came out and was basically like, "What the hell, dude?" And then there was an altercation and some arguing, and I guess he had a gun on him or something. So he pulls it out, basically says, "Give me all your jewelry," and stuff like that. Because I think there was still a few people up, maybe in the living room or something, or didn't realize what was happening. I don't know. All of a sudden, there was people in the living room. Is all I know. It's almost like a dream or something, you know, like where 1 minute no one's there, and then all of a sudden people were there.
Yeah.
But a few people were there, and he's like, "Give me all your money, jewelry, whatever." And then she basically, I don't know, they kept talking or something, and then I guess the heat kind of came down, and the other guy that was with him took off to get the car, and then they tried to negotiate whatever, and then he wanted to leave with all the stuff that he was taking, and she basically like went and lunged at him again.
she tried to defend
And
herself.
that's when like he shot her in the chest, I think 2 or 3 times, and then that was, you know, what happened there. And then I just remember Shaun Nelson from Media Lab, I think it was at the time, if he was in Media,
Yeah.
or Eisen.
That was Media Lab.
Media Lab.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Called me at like 9 in the morning, and he's like, "Dude, I was watching the news, and they said this girl got shot," and they showed her apartment, and he's like, "Are you?" Well, first he said, "Are you sitting down?" I remember that,
Right.
and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'm sitting down." And I never dreamed for the life of me that the phone call was going to be, "Hey, your singer just got shot and she's killed," you know.
Right.
So that was like, it took me about 2 days, and then all of a sudden I just like fell apart. I started to realize everything was going to be different now, you know. You know,
Yeah,
it
it
takes
changed
a
the
little
course
bit,
of
you know, for
so
that stuff
many
to set
things.
in.
Mhm.
Right, pretty wild. So that was my first actual like run-in with that close of a death experience with a friend. So that was my first time with that.
Right.
I remember I was bawling really
And
hard.
you probably didn't know what you were going to do once you were
Right.
over the fact that, you know, she had passed and
Correct.
everything like that. At that point, you're like, okay, you know, what does this mean for me?
Right.
And so now what do I do?
Now,
Right.
yeah, like, do I continue the legacy with the abuse? But we all decided Paulette was the abuse. We can't do, there's no replacements for that. And so, you know, Rich went on.
Yeah, that's how much love there was for her. Like, people didn't even want there to be like a reunion or
Oh, I
tribute
remember
show.
many friends, close friends,
They
fans.
were like, no.
We're like, nope, dude, that ain't happening. Like we tried to do some shows like where we had someone kind of step in for her singing, and then we all kind of realized like it's not right.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
because
and that's
it did,
cool.
and you know, it was her passion
Right.
project. It
Right.
was her love.
We'll leave it with her voice to tell the
Yes.
story,
Yeah,
not anybody
absolutely.
else's voice. you know, to tell that, or sing that rather.
And
you
it's
know.
funny too, I didn't find this out until after everything had happened, but Paulette and I were actually born not just on the same day, but the same year. We're both June 20th, 1970.
Wow.
So I celebrate two birthdays with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. I know. And you go to her grave site too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen photos
Yeah.
of you.
Mm-hmm. Gone out there and yeah, we actually had, we did it was actually the second one, Hoodstock. We did a Hoodstock festival.
I still have that shirt.
Yeah.
Hoodstock too.
Hoodstock too. Yeah. We did Hoodstock at Brick on Paulette and I's birthday, and I went out and visited her, and you know, just had a little chat. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just like it says on her placard, man. It's queen of the scene. You know?
Absolutely. She sure was.
You know,
She always went like that.
I just had a total flashback about a little bit more of that story, and it was really crazy. So I, at the time, was dating Jesse James's niece from Monster Garage, which was kind of weird and like almost celebrity-like, but she's really not like a celebrity. But the fact that she was, you know, related to Jesse James, I thought that was really neat. And
Yeah.
he wanted a package of the band, and she sent that in because we were trying to get our music on Monster Garage or whatever. And she said, yeah, hey, guess what? Like, you know, in like a week, he's going to be down and we're going to go to a Padres game. And then after that, he wants to meet Paulette. And I was like, no way. I'm like, okay, well, we'll figure that out. So I was calling, her name's Billy, and I was calling Billy all night that all
To tell
that
her what
happened.
happened.
And I'm, you know, I hate to reminisce on, it could have gone this way or that way. I mean, fate does what it does, but it really could have been different, man, if Billy had answered her phone. And I'm not trying to put any pressure on anybody, but like in particular, but the night could have been
that she
different.
passed away, you
Right.
almost had other plans.
Yeah, I was trying to get a hold of her all night and Billy, and no one was answering their phone, and I was just like, no.
And that's, it's funny
So-
that Shaun talks about how fate does what it does, you know, and it's like, not to put pressure on anyone either, but like, I know in Diora's case, you know, she wasn't even originally on Flight 93. Like,
Wow.
She was on United Flight 95, but
Wow.
that morning, her friend dropped her off early at the airport because she had to go crash a class, and she had some school-related thing. And because she got to the airport so early, she's like, oh, well, if I can get up out of here earlier, the better. So she got a 93 on a standby, you know. And, but, you know, yeah, I think everybody on that flight,
Yeah.
not to take away from what Shaun's saying.
No,
not
no.
at
Just,
all.
I
ties
think it's all,
in
it
for
is
sure.
connected, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody on that flight, including her, they were all brought together for a higher purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes sense to me. I was saying in the interview I did earlier this morning that
That's right. We haven't even talked about that.
Oh.
G-Dog was on the news today.
Right.
On
He was
KUSI News. And
Well, it was K-Ron up in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
K-Ron.
did KUSI in 2018. But yeah.
Okay, I
That's
remember
right.
seeing that.
Yeah.
But that's why I thought that, because when you said you were going to be on the news.
Yeah.
But I feel so special.
Oh.
I get to interview you after the news interview.
Right.
Yeah. No.
News
Maybe we'll be the news one day.
This is definitely a lot more relaxed. So, yeah.
Not to interrupt you.
No.
Okay.
But
so you were saying on your...
just kind of like what Shaun was saying, how fate just does what it does, and like, you know, that's one of the silver linings I try to find the silver lining in
Right.
things, especially something like this. And it's like when
You have to.
when you take the kind of person she was, like, it's like it makes sense that she would be on that flight because they saved an untold amount of lives
Right.
by fighting the terrorists and breaking it down in this. And it was purposely like we're gonna launch our attack on these guys when we're over a rural area, like not when we're over a city or a residential neighborhood. Like we're gonna fight them. If we go down, we're not taking anybody else out. So, and that's literally what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and it's again
So
the
they're
fate.
heroes.
Yeah, they're absolute heroes. And like, it's funny, like, had they acted mere seconds later in launching that attack, on the other side of the plane crashed right in front of a tree line in a field. Had they hesitated a few seconds in launching that attack, in all likelihood, right on the other side of that tree line is Shamesville Elementary School. So they literally saved the kids in that school.
Yeah.
So
Goodness
it is pretty.
gracious.
It is again. It's the fate thing.
Right.
It's amazing.
How-
Timing and
yeah.
stuff.
All that stuff,
And
yeah,
that
it's
reminds me
bizarre.
of our good friend Stoney.
Oh
Yeah,
my Lord,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, when you talk about timing,
The airplane.
what the...
Yeah.
crashed on her, right?
Yeah,
And
so-
on a freeway.
Right
of all
in the
Yes.
back of the
places.
car.
So our good friend, she was in a car and she was in the back seat.
Right.
And they were driving down the highway and they decided they wanted to update their Bluetooth. But the driver apparently had something to do with this. So they pulled over
Right.
and
Trying to do
she
the safe thing
gets
versus
hit
driving and doing
by
it.
a plane
Right. Hit
while
by-
on the side of the freeway.
And my understanding is that same exact plane crashed on the 15 like 10 years before.
What the heck? That's
Now,
weird.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it makes you think.
Insane.
That's a glitch in the system.
Insane.
That's
It's
a
just
glitch.
insane. There's some coincidences and some things that happen that you're just like,
Yeah.
wow.
And that, and God, that was a rough one too, man.
Yeah.
Losing seven.
Very rough. She
We
was
just
huge.
skated a couple of
In the
weeks
scene.
before that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
She was friends with everybody, super supporter of all the bands.
Wait, weren't you on that like roller derby stuff? Is that what you're
She's
talking
a
about?
derby dog.
Because you were there too doing that, I thought, right?
Oh, I did a little bit of dabbled with practicing with them. But
Okay,
yeah,
right,
I
right.
wasn't doing it with
But you
I
them.
didn't
remember
actually know.
me, you and Crystal, and I think Sammy trying to skate on it. We went to like Pizza Port, and like,
Yeah.
we're all like terrified because it's like rocks on the road. And we're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what are we doing?
Trying not
Are we
to break our
insane?
ankles and kill
Yeah, that's
ourselves.
fun.
So, okay, so we've totally, established that had this huge band and then you
Right.
were lost.
And G-Dog
without
supported
your-
every minute of it.
Absolutely, he sure did.
And some and more.
you can see
Enjoyed every
it,
second.
and
seen it
and
go-
made benefits happen and
Yes.
all kinds of awesome
Yeah.
things. So yeah, but
So,
but
I want to talk, now I want to, kind of talk about more like moving into how you got to where you're at now.
cool.
So-
Yeah. So I mean, after the abuse, I didn't really know what to do, but like Johnny was asked by 6 Foot Death Trap to come in there for a little while. So there was this band, 6 Foot Death Trap. So they had lost their girl guitar player, female guitar player. I forget her name. Sorry. But so I replaced her, and then so I started jamming with them, and we did do a couple benefit shows for Paulette at the time after that. And it was really weird playing in another band for the benefit of Paulette, and it was just like, it was just a wild ride, man. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
And so then that didn't go for too long, and then I started another project called Lesson in Pain, and I still dabble with Lesson in Pain. Bill Colborn, he lives on the East Coast, and we send music back and forth and stuff like that. So there's a little fun still
Billy
going
from
on with
Philly?
that. Yeah, Billy from Philly.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it's like, hey man, let's finish that song that we never finished, let's polish it up and throw it out there just so people can hear it, and it's just something we can set up on our shelf, And so we're still having fun with that. But, and then my son was born, and so I kind of had to take a break for a while because I just knew I had to get my life together. I was putting so much energy into this music scene, I wasn't paying attention to myself, So I had to do this break. And in the meantime, I'm still writing stuff, I'm still doing acoustic stuff, I'm still keeping my talent in there. And then as the years went on, I realized I can start doing some more things with music again. And
You're like, I have more time, things are getting easier.
right.
Jake was getting older.
So pretty much Darren approached me about When Stars Align, and we created this acoustic project. And did that for I think about a half a year to a year or so, and we started
My husband
writing.
Darren.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was really when things started to get really interesting because I was started doing things that I never done before with acoustic stuff, and I'm like, but I love it,
Right.
And I felt I want to write stuff
You guys were writing some beautiful
Aaron
stuff.
Lewisy kind of acoustic, not too country, but definitely got that southern feel, but rock and roll, and just and then our own whatever we are,
Right.
And so that happened, and then then I was able to get into Whiskey State of Mind and do some cover work there. And Darren and I still talking about music off and on, and then all of a sudden there was an opportunity with Sons on Fire where the guitar player had left, and so I'm in there now, and I'm so thankful,
You were the first person he thought
there's
of.
like
really.
there's
'cause
like
when
only
you think
so
about
many-
somebody who can do everything, this is the guy.
right, so there's just so many avenues that could have opened doors this way or that way in your life, and sometimes I like to stand in the crossroads, you know, and just kind of gloat for a second, like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen if I take this path, you know? But why wouldn't I want to do something like that with a band that's signed already, that's starting to take flight, if you will?
And you
like,
were exactly what they needed. I mean, when you came in, it just sparked this whole new inspiration.
right, as I understand, you know, like coming in there and just refiring up everybody to hey, okay, let's get to work. I'm the new guy, so I'm ready to work, you know?
Eager,
Yeah, the
eager.
yeah, because I got to prove myself, you know, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like ready to go. So it's really cool. I fell into my little slot pretty quickly, like with what things I do in the band, like what my role is and what I have, you know, to do, like, you know, videos. We all got to do like videos and whore ourselves out as much as we can on social media.
Yeah.
I love to say that, you
It's
know,
all
whore
about
ourselves
that.
out. Like it really is whoring your
These
life
days,
out.
that is how you have to do it
Yeah.
because, I mean, the algorithm,
Right.
I mean,
So-
the more you put out there, the more...
I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, do I need to do some more rhythm guitar work, or do I just need to put my face in the camera all the time? Or like, I think you really got to like change it up and just keep posting.
It's all about flooding the internet.
Right, just flood it, pour it, just be like, radio. But anyway, yeah.
Get those crazies out there at 3:30 in the morning liking your video.
Yeah. And the more you have up there, the more you're gonna get, you know.
So, but that's happening, and then, you know, like I'm trying to do a lot of the recording right now, like the inside recording of what we are doing for our writing process, and so I've just caught up with about 8 songs or so, and then now we added some acoustic stuff, which I'm like
Right,
in
you
love
guys are
with
going
right
to be
now.
performing some acoustic stuff.
Right, we have
too.
the candy show coming up on, actually, I
Candy
hate
magazine.
saying it, it's the same, well, it's 9/11,
It's
but
2 great shows,
you know.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to say this earlier, but I am very sad I can't make it because I really am. I mean, like I'm still saying it like I'm gonna go. I am still excited to see these bands play.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
hopefully there will be other opportunities soon,
Oh, absolutely.
for that. But these guys are doing this acoustic show, just 4 songs at the Candy Magazine 10th anniversary
Right.
party.
It's
So
up
there's
in
gonna be like
Anaheim.
half naked chicks everywhere, industry people, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
it should be a good-
pretty good.
a good
Pretty
time.
fun.
It's good to just get out there and socialize, and you know we really need content right now. We were obviously in the COVID cage for a year and a half, and so you know that's not fun for anybody or the music scene. And you know, just to be able to get out there and start to kind of like freshen up and get some fresh air again, it just feels good.
Yeah.
I swear that's what everybody needs right now. I don't know why we keep. I don't want to get all political, but man, you know, like I am over the
We need
mask.
outside
Right?
fresh-
Over the mask, yeah. So, but
Throw
you
that shit in
know,
the
I
fire,
appreciate anybody who wants to wear one. You know, it's no thing. But yeah, so I try to not wear them as much as I can. But where I do, I respect it. You know.
Mhm.
But anyways, moving on. Just so that's where we are right now. We're working on a tour. We just revamped our website. We are just trying to clean up our act and get ready. I just ordered some backdrops and some stage banners and stuff.
And you have merch now.
That actually just
How do we
arrived
find
today.
merch?
Yeah, merch, you can go either just to sonsonfire.com and go right to the store, or you can go to the website, which is sonsonfirestore.com, and then you can see everything that we're selling there.
And you have hats, shirts,
Yeah, it's like,
hoodies,
it's all kinds of stuff.
everything.
There's women apparel as well. There's what are those things called that you put over your face?
Masks?
Those little
Oh, well, it's like a mask, but it's the...
yeah, the gaiters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got some of those, and you know, we're just trying to get prepared for what is before us with
Right.
October tour.
And so, but you guys, I mean, technically, it's kind of like starting the tour early with a bye week.
That's so funny.
Because
I know.
you're starting
it's like
On
we're-
the 23rd, right, is when you leave.
So we fly out to like Minnesota, right?
Uh-huh.
And then we're over in Wisconsin, and then back to Minnesota again or something. There's like a Coors festival out there with Saving Abel, I think. That's
Yeah, Saving Abel.
Saving Abel, and you know, I don't really actually know the details about that yet, but I know that we're flying out there like the week
That's the
before
great thing
we
about
start our
having a
tour.
manager.
Right? There's
They
like
literally have, now that they have a manager, they're like, oh, I don't know, let me check my calendar kind of
Yeah.
thing. They literally have everything just like set up for them.
Oh, it's great.
It's a trip too, because Darren, he's not used to that, you know, so I used to hear everything like before everybody else, because he was the one who was like doing a lot of stuff, you know, in his other bands, I mean.
Yeah.
right.
But you know, now that they have a manager, I'll hear things like on Facebook or something, and he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even know we were doing that." Or, "Oh, somebody brought that up." Like, he'll find things out on social media, and so he's like texting everybody like, "Oh, we're gonna do that. Okay, sounds good." You know,
Right.
Gotta roll with it.
Yeah, so there's some good stuff coming up. I mean, the Bias show, we're going to basically kick off the tour, the actual tour, not, you know, the pre-week tour with Bias. And that's the drummer, or the original drummer from Korn.
Dave Silveria.
Dave Silveria.
Right.
And that's really cool, man. Like, and here's what's really odd. Like, when I got with the Abuse, there was this guy, Rockin' Johnny White, and he owed Paulette a favor. So when I first joined the band, I actually got to play at the Coors Amphitheater. At the time, it was called Coors, you know, not Mattress or whatever the fuck.
It'll be Coors.
Yeah, Coors. Coors is good. I mean, that's always
it's like
Coors.
San Diego Sports Arena, like, that's it, dude.
Of course.
Yeah.
So then, we got to play when Korn was playing there, and I think Powerman 5000 did a shout out to Paulette, because every time like one of the bands would stop, we'd start up around the corner on this little side stage thing, and we got to play there. And so I'm like signing autographs in my first band ever, like one of the first shows ever, in a magazine, like just like that. And I remember Kevin from Life Hates Me, before it was Media Lab, or before Shaun went to Media Lab. He was like, "Dude, it took me years to get in a magazine, dude." He's like, and you just hop right in the scene and you're like this. So what's odd to me is now that I'm like with Sons on Fire, I'm doing something with Korn again. To me, it's like with Korn again.
Like,
you know,
and then Power Man
really
5000.
full circle, weird.
Powerman 5000 is at the end.
And then and Powerman 5. So there's these weird puzzle pieces happening in the universe, and I'm just like, okay, something's gonna happen. So this is good.
So those shows back in the day, obviously, there was a higher purpose for those shows, because now you're full circle coming back.
It's wild. So I'm riding that out. Let's go. I'm ready. But yeah, so that's what's up. And then, you know, we're going to go all the way through, like, the southern states and all the way down into Florida, and then we're shooting up to Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then we shoot over to, like, Utah and New Mexico and Colorado. I mean, it's a full month of just a big circle back.
The cool thing about this, too, is that they've only played one show as a band. They've been practicing this whole time. They've had their music out, and because of the label, because of the label and all of the hard work and being spun all over.
Well, I don't do that anymore, but
no speed anymore.
No speed for me. I've been good for a long time.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I've never ever got.
Well, what do you say with the radio?
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
How many spins that you've had?
Rotation.
How many times have you been spun in the rotation?
I think it's
that sounds even worse. Anyways, so basically, you guys are being played on the radio all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so because of that, you've been charting on the Billboard charts.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
That was a surprise. I was watching that before I actually got in. So, and it was so weird, man. Like a month before it happened, I just had like this thought come into my head, like, I'm gonna get in this band. I don't know why, and like I honestly like thought about it quite a bit, and then all of a sudden, Darren calls me out of nowhere, man. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
I will tell you, there's some weird stars aligning or something happening, and it feels like that because when I met everybody and as we started to get all together, it just was like click, 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 click. Even with manager, everybody, Bill, everybody, Jimmy, Trevor. I love Trevor. He's a great guitar player to work with. And even funny,
really well.
Yeah, and funny story about that is my friend Joe Pace was just telling me about this guy, Trevor, and I'm like, oh, I know who that is. He came to my house with Darren a few weeks ago when I had like a little party, a pool party. And so I had already met him, and then he's like, yeah, you need to jam with that guy. And then all of a sudden, like, here I am. It's like all these people were like putting energy towards that, and it just, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's really bizarre.
It aligned.
It totally aligned, and that was like the beginning part. That was the prelude to like this saga that's happening.
Right.
So, but yeah, the radio stuff started happening, and
So now everybody who sees you play, when they go see you, they probably will have heard
we're
your
really
music
hoping for
on
that.
the radio.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
They're pumping it in certain states, and that's the target states that we're basically hitting, is like
Right.
where they're playing
where
it.
you're being spun a lot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we'll go out there and do our shows. In some states we're there for a few days, and we'll go to a few different towns. And then, we just keep moving around. So, we really appreciate all the radio play and the billboard, like, attention, where I think we crawled up, not on the main billboard, but, like, on the rock chart, secondary rock chart. I think we crawled up to 19 or 18 at the end of that. Little run there, and so now we're lifting off.
I think on the second, wasn't it the secondary one, like a little higher than that?
Well, yeah, for how many ads you get, in other words, like the more they're spinning you and the more radio stations start adding you, they also there's a chart for that too. And we, at one point, we were number one.
Yeah.
But, I think when we left with Just a Man this last week, it was like at number 4 or something like that.
That's amazing.
Just a Man did a lot better than Faded did, as far as I saw. And now we've got some new stuff that we're writing, and also working on some acoustic stuff right now. And that's what's in place.
You guys have like
what's
6
coming
new
up.
songs.
Yeah. Well, we had to rewrite and revamp some of them to make sure there was no confusion of who wrote what, especially with the other guitar player. So we wanted to get that all, cool and straightened out. And,
right.
we don't want any problems. He doesn't want any problems. We're all good with that. So that's great. Everybody's working together. And so,
Absolutely.
we're just excited for the, we're getting out of our COVID cages, like I keep saying, like we're out. So
absolutely.
like it's time. And, I feel like so anxious because like a lot of these bands are already out there touring, and I'm like, shit, dude, I hope we don't miss the window and the jaws close down on us and we're like, oh, we can't tour now, another year that we can't tour. We're gonna like freak out.
Yeah.
So like we might as well just become an online band at that point. we'll just like do shows like this. We'll have you record it. We'll make videos. I don't know. We'll make our own MTV channel. We'll start over with like a real music channel.
Oh, there it is.
So
yes, I'm in.
yeah, that's cool. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say actually that I really appreciate you taking the time to come and be here.
Always.
And G-Dog, much love always, and I appreciate you so much. You have supported everybody, all of your friends, even me with this podcast. Like,
it's an honor to be on.
The fact that you're one of the first people to support me, just like Tamika and Dustin, just like Shaun, I mean, my husband, maybe he'll make time for me one day. We'll see.
I think you'll make time.
Yes, he will. But yes, so thank you guys so much. And so for everybody who's listening, the September 11th show is going to be on September 11th this year at Brick by Brick San Diego. Do you know the address?
Yeah, the address to Brick by Brick is 1130 Buenos Avenue, and San Diego zip code is 92110. Doors will be at 7:30. $10 at the door. You can also get tickets ahead of time off the Brick website.
Yes, and if you can, if you're able to, bring some cash for the fireman's hat, or the boot.
The boot, yeah.
The boot.
Yeah.
And then Sons on Fire, you can see them at Brick by Brick as well, October 2nd with Bias, and they are awesome. They are blowing up too. I talked about them.
It's great.
In the last podcast with Tamika and Dustin. David Silveria is the drummer. The other guys that are in the band, they are just up there on his level, you know what I mean? So they're amazing too, and hopefully everybody will, love them. And also at Ramona Main Stage.
Right, so after the tour we circle back at the end of the month, then at Ramona Main Stage with Powerman 5000, which is pretty cool. I really want to talk to him about like that day that we were there.
Yeah.
He remembers shouting out to Paulette and all that. And
He might, you never know.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll remember that, or we'll have to see. So I'm excited. I got conversations in my pocket ready to go. I'm ready.
That's amazing.
So.
Okay, well, again, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for watching and listening. We're doing this for YouTube as well. And I want to shout out, thank you to Arlene.
Yay, we love you,
She's
Arlene.
my girl. She's been helping me with a lot of the back production and photos, photography. So thank you, Arlene, and that's Black Rose's photography. If you want some really good band photos, or
Very
if
good.
you want her to come to your show and take photos of you, it's only $2,000.
Right.
It's not very much,
Yeah.
but she's so worth it.
I just did.
Okay, I'm lying.
Yeah, she just shot me naked lately, and it's been a great
That was
great experience.
$2,200.
$200. It's no problem.
I'll have you photo shoot Annabelle. I think she's got $2,000 laying in her crib.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's happy with you.
Amazing.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Well, thank you guys all again, and I hope everybody has an awesome night, an awesome week, an awesome month, an awesome year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, stay positive,
Well,
everybody.
amazing.
Like, that's all we can do, like, as a collective. The more positive we are,
Right.
the more the higher vibration is gonna move up.
Absolutely, and that's what we need.
we need. Yeah.
Mhm. Love,
Big time.
positivity,
Love.
all of those things can just make the darkness disappear. And I know
Right.
that sounds so cliche, but it's true.
It's
What's
true,
up?
you know.
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
So much love to you all.
Much love.
Bye-bye.
I was paralyzed when I first met you. Couldn't barely stand, let alone talk to you. Last I remember, we were at your place. Our clothes were off quicker than I could blink. Waited so long for a girl like you. You are my ride or die, tried and true. Now that I know you love me too, I'll break down at the thought of losing you. We always talk about and dream of better days. How did everything fall into place? You are my everything, the reason for my strength. I never thought I would feel this way. Waited too long for a girl like you. You are my ride or die, tried and true. Now that I know you love me too, I'll break down at the thought of losing you. Been paralyzed since I first met you. I was so afraid I didn't know what to